Hey Soul Fam, thanks for tuning in today. We're going to be covering a number of topics, and as always, I'm working on myself too. So we're covering topics that are relevant to the group and also relevant to me. So we're gonna build on what we've been working on. So we're gonna be looking at secondary memories today. So for the past 2 weeks, we've looked at primary memories, and I'm just going to remind you because there's some new people on the call today. So if you use this technique and all you do is go through your very top best memories, top 3 best memories and top 3 worst memories, this will kind of basically like probably spark a spiritual awakening for you, because so much energy will be freed up, or it will at least like move things around in your life and give you a lot more energy. And maybe like, you might like cut off some friends and start a new job and like move to a new country or something, because of the amount of energy that can be moved. So for the primary memories, we already looked at I'm just gonna keep saying your best memory or your worst memory, but you know where you are in the process. You may have to do many layers for each of those. Like maybe your worst memory is going to take like 10 or 20 layers. You just keep working on it until you feel complete with it. And then you can move to your like second worst memory or second best memory. So when I say like best or worst, use your discretion and be working on your top 3. Okay, so you can kind of track in your mind like what you want to work on. But today we're actually looking at the secondary memories of it. So for those of you who are new, it's actually better if you've already worked the primary memories, but whatever, we're just going to go for it. You can look at a replay also if that's helpful. Okay, so for the secondary memories, we're actually going to be looking at the memory from someone else's perspective. So we're going to go in to the memory and then we're going to see it from someone else's perspective. So let's say that it was like some kind of like car accident or something and you were by yourself. Well, you can just like fast forward to like whoever ended up finding you, or just kind of fast forward to like when there was someone else involved in the memory, and then you'll see it from their eyes. So yeah, we're going to be looking at our top best memory and top worst memory, but from the secondary perspective. So I'll guide you in that. And then we're looking at the spirit of marijuana, because that's something that's been coming up with, it's just like very popular in the world, but it's also been coming up in my field with friends and clients. So we're just going to be exploring as a collective mind this energy of marijuana and how she interacts with the humans, and just getting more insight on that and getting kind of more of a neutral God's eye perspective on that, because honestly I could use a refresh with my relationship with her. So I'm just getting more like neutrality with it. So then like this one, okay, so like I personally have a phobia of like authority and police, and I'm sure like you guys probably all are like a range of that. Like some of you are like not afraid at all, and some of you are more afraid. I'm probably the most afraid. And it's something that I'm working on, which is why I'm doing it in this class. But we're gonna be looking at an aspect of like the corrupt cop. I'm not saying that all cops are corrupt. I'm just saying, like, if there was a corrupt cop, let's just look at them. Why are they corrupt? So I'll be guiding you in that. I mean, this is inspired by like a real scenario that happened to me 2 days ago, getting stopped on my way coming here. These like, fat cops that are like, no, they're not there to help you. They're not there to help you. They're there to like find something wrong with you and get you in trouble. Okay, so we're looking at that. And let's see what else. And some other things that came up that are surprises. They will be great. Okay, so here we go. I invite you to put your hands in a mudra that unites 2 hemispheres. I use this one a lot, or you can use this one, or if you have another one you like, as long as the idea is that we're creating more points of connection in the brain. Okay, so close your eyes and exhale all the air out through your mouth, squeezing your stomach. Deep breaths, mouth, mouth. Inhale, exhale. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. Mouth, mouth. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. Mouth, mouth. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. Mouth, mouth. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. Last one, mouth, mouth. On the exhale, squeeze your stomach, pull your hands together, squeegee your eyeballs, look up and hold as long as you can on the exhale, then relax and release everything. Okay, now I want you to remember a time that you felt very powerful and empowered. Remember a time that you were very much in your power. What is it that made you feel powerful? What about the circumstances? Okay, we're going to breathe again. You can briefly open your eyes to put your hands in a mudra and exhale all the air out through your mouth, squeezing your stomach. Deep breaths, mouth, mouth. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. 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 Last one, mouth, mouth. On the exhale, squeeze your stomach, push, pull your hands together, squeegee your eyeballs, look up and hold as long as you can, and then relax and release everything. Okay, now I want you to remember a time when you felt very powerless, impotent, small, weak, powerless. Remember a time when you felt powerless, out of control. Okay, we're gonna breathe again. You can open your eyes to put your hands in the mudra, and we're going to breathe. Exhale all the air out through your mouth, squeezing your stomach. Deep breaths, mouth, mouth. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. nose, mouth, 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 nose, 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 mouth, 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 nose, 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 mouth. Last one, mouth, mouth on the exhale. Squeeze your stomach, push, pull your hands together, squeeze your eyeballs, look up, and then hold as long as you can. And when you're done holding, you can relax and release everything. Okay, so we're gonna do secondary memories now. If this is your first, if you haven't done your primary memories, I recommend you go back and watch the replays. But we're gonna go to your very best memory. See your very best memory. And notice who else is there or involved in it. And then scan that person with your eyes, and then spirit to spirit walk into them, merge with them, become them, and then look at the memory from their eyes. Just watch the memory as if it's a movie. See it through the eyes of the other person involved. What does your human self look like from that perspective? What does the whole scenario look and feel like from that perspective? Okay, we're gonna breathe again. So you can briefly open your eyes to put your hands back in the mudra and exhale all the air out through your mouth, squeezing your stomach. Deep breaths, mouth, mouth. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. 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 Last one, mouth, mouth. On the exhale, squeeze your stomach, push, pull your hands together, squeegee your eyeballs, look up and hold as long as you can, and then relax and release everything. Okay, so we're doing secondary memories. So if you've been coming to this class regularly, choose something you've already worked on, your worst memory. And see your very worst memory. Okay, now see who else was involved, who else is there. And then scan that person with your eyes, and then spirit to spirit walk into them, merge with them, and then see the situation through their eyes. What does your human self look like from their eyes? Okay, we're going to breathe again. We have 2 more layers of memories, so you can briefly open your eyes to put your hands in the mudra. Exhale all the air out through your mouth, squeezing your stomach. Deep breaths, mouth, mouth. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. 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 Last one, mouth, mouth on the exhale. Squeeze your stomach, pull your hands together, squeegee your eyeballs, look up and hold as long as you can on the exhale, then relax and release everything. Okay, I want you to imagine from God's eyes view a scene in San Francisco, California. It's a beautiful grassy park on a hill with palm trees and lavender flowers, and the air is cold and sunny. It's crisp and sunny. And there's a group of really cool bohemian artists, everybody mixed race, rainbow color, cool artsy people smoking weed. Just watch them from God's eyes smoking weed. And now I want you to become the spirit of weed, become the weed, the smoke, the essence, and notice what it's like to be in that scene as the weed. How does it interact with the people, with the bodies? What's its intention? Just what do you notice when you become the weed? How does the weed feel inside of the people's bodies? How does it interact with the body? How does it interact with the mind? How does it interact with the spirit? How does it interact with the emotions? What are its benefits and side effects? Maybe those are two different things. First, let's look at the benefits. Just look at the benefits. Okay, and then look at any negative effects. And just notice the overall profile and personality of the plant. Okay, we're going to breathe again, and we have one more layer of memory. So you can briefly open your eyes to put your hands in the mudra and exhale all the air out through your mouth, squeezing your stomach. Mouth, mouth, deep breaths. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. Mouth, mouth. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. Mouth, mouth. Mouth, nose. Nose, nose. Nose, mouth. Last one, mouth, mouth. On the exhale, squeeze your stomach, push, pull your hands together, squeegee your eyeballs, look up and hold as long as you can. Then relax and release everything. Okay. For this one, we're going to look at the scenario of the corrupt cop. I'm not saying that all cops are corrupt. I'm just saying if there was a corrupt cop, what would be going on in their head? So for this one, we're going to imagine that we're driving from one big city in Mexico to another big city in Mexico. So we're on the outskirts now of Mexico City, and we just went through a toll pay booth. And so we're starting to drive again. There's a taxi driving us, a private hired taxi. So it's an unmarked, it's just a regular car. And there's these two fat cops on the side of the road, and they stop you. And then you just know that like they're not really there to serve, like they don't really have that good of intentions. They're like they want to make a buck, or they just want to fill a quota, and like they're looking for people they can get in trouble. So I want you to scan the cop with your eyes, look him up and down, and then become the cop and notice what the job looks like through the eyes of the cop, what the scenario looks like. Just notice what do all of the cars passing by look like through the eyes of the cop. What does the car that's stopped look like through the eyes of the cop? Okay, and we are going to breathe one more time to close the session. And you can briefly open your eyes, put your hands in the mudra, exhale all the air out through your mouth, squeezing your stomach. Deep breaths, mouth, mouth. mouth, nose, 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 mouth, 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 nose, 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 mouth, 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 nose, 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 mouth, 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 nose, 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 mouth. Last one, mouth, mouth on the exhale. Squeeze your stomach, pull your hands together, squeegee your eyeballs and look up and hold as long as you can on the exhale, then relax and release everything. Okay, everyone, thanks for joining today and looking into these things and creating new, hopefully more compassionate and benevolent pathways in the collective mind and in our own minds. If you need additional support, reach out at lovelikeanocean.com. Thank you.